All right. Uh, Quick show of an emoji. Was that hard or easy? There's no judgment. It doesn't matter. And we're not even going to spend a lot of time thinking about it. Just a quick note to yourself. Were you able to take the space, or was it surprisingly challenging to just sit for a minute? I see lots of hearts. I got some thumbs up. I got a cup. Oh, Sandra's not liking it. I hear you, Sandra. I get it. All right. I'm always amazed. I try to do those 1 minute pauses at least once a day. And my learning is always that when I am doing it, my experience of how challenging I find it gives me the insight that I need to know about where I'm really at mentally. So I do it not even for it, although it's helpful. It's like my way of getting out of busyness and getting a litmus test of where I'm actually at in terms of my calmness and my sort of groundedness. All right. So, from whatever place we're coming from, we're going to talk about the idea of why New Year's resolutions will never work for any of us. And I want us all to just throw them out the window right now and instead think about how we set goals that we're actually going to hit in 2024. So, I'm going to do something a little different than I usually do. I am going to start with a little bit of teaching. I like these meets to be much more conversational and not just about me talking at you guys, but I'm going to start with probably just 5 minutes of content and then try to get us into conversation and then straight into action, because my mission is that in our time together in this beautiful 52 minutes we have left, that we would actually leave the room with your goals optimized, with any changes and tweaks that we need to make to your SLAP goals actually done in live time, so that you're set up for success as we move into the new year. So as we do that, here's the opening thoughts that I want you guys to ponder. I don't mind if you open up your SLAP Center account in the background while I'm talking. I will not find that rude. I think it would be very helpful actually for you to do that. So if you can get your SLAP Center account open, let's do it. We want to look at the goals. So let's talk about resolutions, right? So the instinct that all of us have is it's a new year. We're going to set up all these new intentions. We're going to have all these new resolutions for all these changes we're going to make. And then what happens most of the time when we have a New Year's resolution? By the end of January, we're like kind of can think we foggily remember what we said it was going to be, but it's so far in the past by the end of January that we're not 100% sure. By February, we wake up feeling guilty most of the days because we're not doing the thing we said we would do. So then we go to guilt. And then by March, it's just so far in the rearview mirror that we just forget about it. Then we're just busy from March to November. And then we get to December and we just feel a lot of shame because nothing changed the way we wanted it to. That is how the majority of resolutions go. And the reason for that is that most resolutions, and I'm simplifying the science, but most resolutions are hopes, wishes, prayers, and dreams. I want to lose 20 pounds. I would like to start working out. I am going to do X, Y, Z. And all of those things are lovely. Hopes, wishes, dreams, and prayers are all things I hope we all have lots of. We want those things, but they don't drive change. They may give us a North Star. They may be motivating at different moments in different ways. But as we talk about in SLAP, motivation is a very fickle friend. It is not a consistent friend. It comes and it goes. And so resolutions are relying on hopes, wishes, dreams, motivation, the imagination. What I like to think of it as like the false idea that if we just wish something was true, it will magically happen. And then we live in the sadness and the frustration and the disillusionment of it not. The reason most resolutions don't work is not that change is not possible. Obviously, we all together in this community spend our whole being in conversation and relationship with each other with the belief that we can accomplish change. We can set a goal and we can accomplish it. So it is absolutely possible for you to have a goal and hit it. But what is different between a goal that you will accomplish and how we typically do resolutions is that goals, like we teach, are measurable, right? They're time bound, they are reasonable, and you're actually committed to doing them. And oftentimes resolutions are missives, ideas, hopes, wishes, dreams, big thoughts that we're not actually serious about. So what I want to talk about today is I feel like everything right now is about the anatomy of a fall, the anatomy of a scandal, but let's roll with it. The anatomy of a goal. How do we set goals that are not resolutions, but they're things that ground us and help us adjust our behavior to get to the outcome. So I'm going to give us a checklist. And as I go through it, I want you to rate your current goal. So there's two ways you could approach this. If you are a resolution person, if on January 1st you set a big New Year's resolution and you're all feeling jazzed and excited about it, you could assess your resolution against this. Or if you're someone that was a little wishy-washy in resolutions, but you do have a SLAP goal, I want you to assess your SLAP goal on it. If you're really feeling fancy and your brain is functioning better than mine is right now, you could do both at the same time. But what we want to do is start to evaluate, right, the validity of the goals we've set and the chance that you actually have of hitting it. And then the good news is we can tweak the goal until you have a very high chance of hitting it. So this is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to ask you guys a bunch of questions about your goals, your resolutions, your goals. And I would encourage you, you're not going to have to share this with anyone unless you want to. And so I would encourage you to be honest. One of the most fascinating and interesting things that happens when I get a chance to talk to Slapsters one-on-one is I ask you guys about your goals and you lie, which is so fascinating because why are you lying? Who are you lying to? You're lying to yourself. You're lying to me. Like, why are you lying? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. So the number one thing I'm going to remind all of us is there is no right or wrong answer. What like Sonia's goal is could be completely different than Katrina's, completely different again from Ben's, and different again from Vester's, and different again from Nell's. Who cares? I don't care what your goal is. I care that you care what your goal is, and I care that you hit it. But you cannot hit your goal if you're not telling the truth. And I see 95% of the time when people don't hit their goals, I think actually deep down, we don't actually really want the outcome. And so we're lying to ourselves right from the beginning. And so if we're not telling the truth, the real truth, the truth that only matters to us, we are setting ourselves up for a path of not getting to the outcome. But it makes sense because we don't really want it. So let's get into truth with ourselves as the primary objective. There is no right or wrong answer to what your goal is. There's no right or wrong answer to what success is. There's no right or wrong answer to what growth looks like. It is truly you and your reality and your ambition. Okay. So question number one, take your goal, write it down. I just want you to physically look at it. Physically make it real. One of the problems with goals is they feel big and esoteric. When you write it down, we're forced to look at it. So I want you to just write down your goal in the simplest way you can write it down. Right? If you're looking at your SLAP goal, then we literally write it out for you, right? I will accomplish this much revenue and this much profit by this day, right? If it's a resolution, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to fill in the blank, okay? So write down whatever that goal is that you want to work with today. Now, first question I have as you look at it, just no fluffy, fluffy language, no fluff, no anything else, just the words in front of you. Question number one, is it measurable? So I want to get fit is very different than I want to be able to hold a plank for 9 minutes. I want to learn how to run is very different than I want to be able to run 20 kilometers. Okay, so is it measurable? Could I have you literally tell me, this is my goal and this is where I am today because I can measure my progress against it? Question number one, okay? And make a note, yes or no, put a little note there. Is it measurable? The second question is it time bound? When I ask you what your goal is your instinct to tell me by June 30th of 2024, this will happen. By December 31st of 2025 or 2026, this will happen. So is it time bound, right? Did you find yourself writing a deadline down when you wrote it down, right? And or is it sort of loosely in your head? Is it a real deadline or is it ambiguous? Have you committed to it? Or are you sort of living in fluffy land, right? Is it time bound? Do you have a deadline? By the way, a deadline is not next year. A deadline is a date, June 30th, December 12th, November 13th, okay? It is a specific, practical thing, okay? So the goal you've written down, right? Is it measurable? Is it time bound? Next question. Do you actually have a point of view on what it will take in terms of time, money, and energy to accomplish it? Okay. For example, let's say I have a measurable goal and it's time bound, right? I want to run a marathon on October 14th, 2024. I do not, for the record, want to run a marathon. I don't even want to run a marathon, as a side note. So I can use this example with no emotional reaction to it. Okay. I will, right, run a marathon on October 14th, 2024. Measurable, time bound. Now, what is it going to take me to run a marathon on October 14th, 2024? Connie, there is not a chance I'm going to run with you. I will do many other things with you, but I will never run. Not happening. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I will cheer you on as you run. Okay. How much time will it take for me to train to run a marathon? If I can't even run around the block right now and I want to run 26 miles, how many hours will I have to spend training to get to that point? That's the amount of time it will take me. Okay, now how much money will it take? Will I have to hire a coach? Will somebody have to help me? Will I have to pay a registration fee? Do I have the amount of money required? And then how much energy will it take me to motivate myself to go and do all these runs and all these things? And do I have that energy? Is the energy free inside of me, or is it being used up by lots of other competing priorities? So do I actually, maybe I want to run a marathon on October 14th, 2024. God knows why I would want to run a marathon. I could never figure that question. I have no idea why I would want to do that, but let's pretend I did. Do I realistically understand and have the time, the money, and the energy that I would be required to invest to accomplish that outcome? The second most reason we don't hit our goals, the first is I think we don't tell the truth. We don't really want them. The second reason, though, is that we're not honest about what's required to get to the outcome. It's very easy for me to say to all of you, my goal is to, I don't know, make $8 million and put it in my bank account by December 31st. Really? Right? Do I have the time, the money, and the energy to do what is required to make $8 million in cash in the next 12 months? Like, really? Do I believe in the things that I would have to do to make that much money that quickly? Right? Do I have it in me if it would take me lying or cheating or doing something that is not aligned with my values? Like, what would it actually take? What would be really required to put that much cash in my bank account? Right? That's the difference between a hope, a wish, a crazy idea, a dream, a prayer, and a goal. Do I have the time, the money, the energy that is required to invest to get to the outcome that I am saying I want? Okay. So do you? So I want you to just pause and like think about that. Time, 3 resources are required to accomplish anything: time, money, energy. Do you have the time, money, and energy necessary to accomplish the goal that you wrote down? Let's assume it is measurable and it is time bound, right? When you evaluate the relationship between time, money, energy, and outcome, that's when you're looking at and asking the question, right? Is it realistic? An important conversation. I want to talk about realistic. If I'm looking at something, if Erin wants to make $8 million cash and put it in her bank account, high five to Erin. I will never, ever say don't be ambitious. I will just say be realistic about how long that might take. Maybe you can't have it in 2024. Maybe it'll take 20 years to do that. But what can you do this year on your path to it? So being realistic does not mean you are less ambitious. And being realistic does not mean you expect more or less. But being realistic says you are able to be strategic about designing what you're going to invest in the short term to arrive at an outcome that you can actually get to. Okay. And ideally, that outcome moves you in the direction, right, of a future version of life you want to be living. All right. The last question. Look at that goal again. Okay. Is it measurable? Is it time bound? Is it realistic? Do you have the time, money, and energy at your disposal to be able to make it happen, to invest in that outcome? Next question. How much do you want it? I am amazed at how many small business owners set goals that they don't really want. And why do we set these goals? Because it's what some business book told us to do, because it's what Mark Zuckerberg did, because it's how we are supposed to measure our success. It's because it's what pop culture tells us is successful. It's because it's what our mom or dad programmed into our head makes us successful. It's because we're proving ourselves to somebody. It's because we don't feel confident enough to have a bigger goal. It's all we think we can do. It's because of trauma in the system. It could be for any number of factors. But I would guess that most of us, myself included, are probably running on about 80% of programming and 20% of authentic truth inside of us. And that means that we have got to be incredibly intentional about addressing that programming when we're setting our goals. The programming is less painful when we're in action mode, but when we're taking these moments to pause and reflect and set the goal that will guide our actions, we have got to be aware of how much programming we're operating with and actually be able to set back for long enough and say, do I really want this goal? Like, do I actually look at this? Is it true? Is this what I want? And I will give you guys just an example of this. It's very relevant. I'm 41 and Silver Lining will be 20 years old next year. It's crazy, 19 years old this year. Stay tuned for some fun announcements coming soon about the Silver Lining Global Tour, maybe coming to a city near you soon. Side note, little plug, little marketing plug. It was probably 14 years ago. So we grew really fast. We had offices in 4 cities. We had staff all over the place. By all external metrics, we were successful. I was winning awards, top 30 under 30. We were getting PR, all these external validations of success. But we were struggling. I was $500,000 in debt. I was miserable. I hated every single day. I was like, I did not enjoy my business at all. And all I needed to do was go raise venture capital. I had multiple term sheets. I had offers from VCs. Everyone wanted to get involved because everything looked so good on the outside. And I kept going to these VC meetings and I kept not taking the deals and not pursuing them and not reviewing term sheets. But I had this goal, which was I was going to raise $10 million, $10 million. And finally, about 6 months in of like just circling around my insanity. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I'm a smart person. I'm capable of going and doing this deal. Why am I being so misbehaved? Why am I not just getting it done? Finally, the realization was, I don't want VCs. I don't want their money. I don't want what that would do to my company. I don't want what it would do to my life. I don't want what they would do to hijack the vision I have around justice and small business. I don't actually want that money. I don't want to raise $10 million. And it was the most insane insight because I had invested an unbelievable amount of time, money, and energy pitching VCs on Silver Lining and getting stuck in my own head. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the goal done. The second I realized I actually didn't want that goal and I released it, I went into the mode, which was true, which I wanted to generate revenue. I wanted to get an integrity on my debt. I wanted to build a business that was fair and just for all. And I started making tons of progress very quickly, very instantly. I was free to move forward. And so if you feel stuck, there's many, many, many reasons why we feel stuck. This is not the only one. But one of the first questions I ask is, are you for sure telling the truth about the goals that you have? Is it really what you want? Or are you operating from some of this programming that is so strong, right? Carissa, how do you succeed? You raise millions and you sell for billions and you have VCs and there's a press release. Yay. No, not my version of success, not what I wanted for my company, not what I was going to be able to motivate myself to move into action on. So as you look at this goal again, I'm just going to give us a minute to sit with this. 4 things I want you to check in on, right? Measurable, time bound, realistic, as defined by you have enough time, money, and energy to accomplish the goal by the time frame you've set for yourself, and you actually want it. It is authentically, truthfully aligned to how you want to live your life, to the outcomes you are excited about accomplishing. If we want to get a tiny bit woo-woo for a minute, that you feel called to delivering on, right? Because if it's not that, what's the point, right? It's not programming, it's you. It's really what you want. Okay, I'm going to give everyone just a couple of seconds to sit with those 4 things, and then we're going to talk. Okay. If anyone, oh, I see Tanya's hand. Okay, great. Let's do like 3 or 4 people, just reflections. You can say as much as you want to say. You can say what your goal is or not. There's no pressure. But what does thinking about your resolution, your goal through this lens, what is it surfacing? Tanya.
Okay, so I raised my hand because I was hoping that what I do could provide insight. Personally, I stopped doing resolutions, much like you said, that whole cycle, right? Even thinking about some of your questions, measurable, time bound, money, time, energy, in terms of setting a goal, even that brings me anxiety. So, like, even just the constraints of that, or thinking about, or because, we've all, I mean, I was a young entrepreneur too. So, I've done away with resolutions. And what I do is I create themes. So, each year I come up with 3 theme words that encompass mind, body, spirit, or psyche, whatever. And so, my 3 words for this year are upgrade, innovate, delegate. These are definitely things that I do want. I don't have any time bound measurement on it, but I've already started to implement. I keep these words in my mind throughout the year, and actually writing it down has inspired me to put them up on a vision board because I've already begun. And if anybody here knows how to pay people, because I'm getting a virtual assistant, but I don't know how to pay her. Can somebody write to me privately? So thank you, Carissa, for doing these because this is so important, so important. And I actually met some of the one of the young ladies here. So hi. So thank you for creating us to slap meat and stuff like that. But I do need someone to reach out to me who can help me learn how do I officially and legally pay another person or pay another business. So thank you. Thank you for doing this. Upgrade, innovate, delegate. And I'm delegating by paying other people.
I love it, Tanya. Okay, I'm in Colombo. Send Tanya all the details about using Gusto. So Tanya, we don't have a paid partnership with them. This is not me like pitching somebody for any reason other than I think they're the best ones in the US. So Colombo, send Tanya those details. It's like $4 a month for contractors, $19 a month for employees, and they do all the compliance and all the payroll management and all the filings and all the things. So we'll get you what you need. All right, Sharon, what's coming up for you?
So for me, I am a big vision board person. I actually teach them, and I do wholeheartedly. What I do is I can tell when things are in alignment, when things just fall in my lap, when things just happen, and I know I'm in that right space. So for me, it is about finding that alignment and understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that 4th one is the biggest one because even with vision boards, a lot of people tend to put things on vision boards. And what I started seeing as I was teaching them is, oh, I want to get my husband a red car, or oh, I want to get, XYZ for my kids. And the thing is, it's like, that's not a vision, that's just a desire. And understanding the difference between the two, the vision has to be heart centered, and really that's where the esoteric moments in your life come from. And that was huge for me because it's like when I started realizing that what I was doing was creating a legacy. It's kind of like, oh, I want to make money, but why do you want to make money? You don't want to go make money and be Steve Jobs because he was miserable. you want to make money for a means to an end to get something out of that. So it's kind of like I have a friend now where it's like she's always like, oh, this is fun in business. No, I don't want to have fun in business. I want to make money in business so that I can go have fun. So it's understanding those differences with that, but everything is really, it's like when you get crystal clear on everything, it tends to be more, I know it sounds cliche, but it isn't. It's easier. And Steve Harvey, he talks about it all the time in his vision boards, but there's a scripture, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. So when I teach vision boards, it's like, I'm a visual person. So it's like, I want people to understand, you have to write your goals. You have to write the plan. And I know it can be frustrating, but if you don't have a direction, if you plan to fail your plan, if you fail to plan your plan, you know what I'm trying to say. I forgot the quote because I say it so much that I forgot because I get worked up. So you have to write it and you have to understand why you're doing it, because if you don't know why you're doing it, it's not going to work.
Great. Now, one thing I am going to say, which is a tweak on what Tanya and Sharon, you guys said, one of my favorite quotes of all time, I'm going to put this on a t-shirt, I think. Pray and move your feet. So one of the big risks that I see, especially in the coaching and the wellness world, and I love the coaching and the wellness world. I sign up for every single coaching and wellness thing on the planet. I love it. But it is this idea that if we have intentions and we have values and we have vision boards, it will happen. And I think that all of that is necessary. And we align against it with measurable goals and actions against it. And so I would offer an and to what Tanya and Sharon are saying, which is yes, know your values because you'll be able to align against them. Yes, have a vision board, right? Visualize the outcomes you're looking for. And, right, we need to have these measurable goals. We need to be able to say, in order to accomplish this beautiful vision I have, these are the 4 things I'm going to get done this year. And this is how I believe I can get there. So that's one of the interesting conundrums that we try and deal with at Silver Lining is this idea that there is actually alignment between spirituality, justice, and profit. Those things are not opposed. They're actually deeply aligned. And when we can live a life where those are fully aligned, we're living in our values, aligned with spirituality, clear about vision, and we're driving profit, right? Measurable goals with outcomes that we can measure and track against. And we are we're creating a world that's more just for all. When those things are actually coming together, that is when we change the world, right? That is when this global community of small business owners changes the world. So I'm going to yes and everything. Yes, values. Yes, vision board. And a measurable financial goal that you can align your actions against. Pray and move your feet. Vision and set a measurable goal, right? Go big and take action every day to get there. So that's my wish for all of us, is that we can hold the space for big vision, and that we don't release the responsibility of clear goals and actions against them, which is our job as CEOs. Whether you're a company of 1 or 10,000, our job is to set and hit goals. That is the responsibility of a CEO. Tanya, okay, I'm coming back to you in a second. Okay. I'm seeing exclamation marks. I'm excited. Okay. Let's go to Tanya and then we'll go to Connie. Tell us your epiphany, Tanya.
I just had, while you were talking, oh my God, thank you so much for doing this. I just had a tremendous epiphany because, I create the 3 words in upgrade, innovate, delegate for each year. I can actually write a mission statement with mini goals underneath it that are measurable, time bound, and things that I want. So I'm going to create a mission statement for what it is that I mean by upgrade. What do I mean by delegate? And then what are the things that I plan to do to, thank you, Carissa. Thank you. I'm going to let somebody else talk, but thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
And then add a 4th word, profitable. And then set a goal for the finances that bring it all together too.
Well, you know how I am with money. I'm so abundant.
I know, even more. Abundance grows. My job is always going to be to bring us back to and How do we take all your guys' power and all your visions and all your skills and increase your profitability and your sustainability, right? As we wrestle with justice and wellness and big vision and alignment and all these other things. All right, Connie, then Chandra, then Katrina, and then we're going to go to the next move for all of us to get to action on this.
Carissa, I need your email so I can sign you up for the wine glass marathon in October. We can do
Not
that.
happening, but thank you. Yeah.
Um,
I am aligned and clear on what I am and am not going to accomplish this year. Yeah.
You said say anything. So I had like a little light bulb moment too, and we've been outgrowing our shoebox apartment in Astoria and going back and forth constantly about like, do we move out? Do we stay here? Do we go far, far away where rent is cheaper? And when I think about my financial goals, I have a hard time picking a number, right? Because we make this all up. And at the same time, I had always been relying on like my husband's matriculation through his career and company, like, oh, whenever, his next pay raise, maybe we can buy a house. And I just realized that I can set my goal to have enough money in a year to make a down payment for what I want to buy.
There is not exactly. This is what you decide, Connie, is so important, right? There's, especially for the women in the room, I know, men, this happens to you too, but especially for the women. One of the programming that overrides our truth is that we think so much about what everyone else needs and wants. Our partners, our community, the kids, the parents. And sometimes that programming is so loud that we don't realize, oh, wait a minute, I can just say what I want, even if it's for my family, right? Even if it's for the collective, and then move myself in the direction of that. So I love what you said, Connie. One of the most fascinating things that I see, and this is for all entrepreneurs, this is all entrepreneurs of all ages, sizes, genders, backgrounds, locations. Something happens when we start a business. We have all this confidence that allows us to make such a bold move to start a company. It's a bold move to start a business. It's like, that's a confident, risky thing to do. And then somehow, for some reason, the psychology of it is that we lose our power inside of our own companies, even though our companies are our own making. It's a really interesting transformation that I see a lot, and that I've been through. I get it. So my challenge to all of you guys would be to look at this goal and also make it a statement on the fact that you have power and agency inside of this thing you've created. You are not at its whim. It is at yours. Your life is not, right, up to if you do or don't magically succeed. You can define what you want and then build your business to help you deliver on that. So I love that you said that, Connie, because I think that's one of the big shifts when we take agency back and we recognize we actually have all the power to define what we want, to set the goal to get there, and then to drive our actions against it. I mean, it's incredibly empowering, and it's not a surprise to what you said, Sharon, right? That all of a sudden then we move in that direction more easily, right? There's more ease that comes. So great. Okay, Chandra.
Hi, Carissa. Thank you. Again, this meeting is amazing. I don't know if you remember, but last year, towards the end of the year, I had mentioned that, I'm a caregiver for my mom who has Alzheimer's and she had her stroke. And so on top of that, I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to do SLAP. So you said, take a minute, breather, we'll help you out. So from that, I say all that to say that with working with my mindset coach, Diego, we really revamped my goals. And so I don't, do resolutions anymore, but I do have a word, and this year it's realistic, and being realistic about what, I can do with the time that I have. And we had to, I had to totally pivot and figure out how I can make income, just passive income, because all of my time is, caring for my mom right now, but I still wanted to continue with SLAP in some form. And I'm a fashion stylist, so I have to, be there with people, but I can't right now. So now I'm working on a program to sell a class online, showing people, this is what it looks like to style red carpet and fashion films and things like that. So just what you're talking about here today really is in alignment with what we've been working on towards the end of the year and starting off this year. And I'm really trying to make measurable, like small measurable steps. So each week, I'll say, okay, because we're meeting weekly now and we have been for a while. And that's really helpful too. And I want to tell people that, like, if you're really stuck, like, get in there and meet with your mind coach weekly. Because I have like small steps that I'm taking each week, and maybe it's 2 or 3, but it just helps me even more to be focused. So I just wanted to, say that, and that this was truly in alignment, and, just being able to get back into slap and start, doing things again, even if it's, not exactly what I came in for. It's totally fine because I've had to pivot, so many times. So thank you for this.
I love that. Thank you for saying that. And I want to say for all of you guys, if you're not doing regular mindset calls with the SLAP experts, get to them. They are so good. They are so good. And I love that you're doing them weekly. I remember vividly a conversation we had. Oops, I just got excited and made some weird things in chat. Sorry, I'm going to delete that. I remember vividly when you told us in another meet about what was going on in your personal life and the conversation around the idea that when life gets hard, our instinct is to pull away from support because we feel like we don't have enough time, ironically, to get the support we need that will help us through it. And I know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that when things get hard, the answer is to lean in towards more support, right? Get more support around us. So there are all sorts of things going on in the world right now that are affecting all of us probably in very different ways. It could be a reality in your own health, a family member's mental health, physical health, a relationship to conflict happening in the world, a relationship to injustice happening in the world, a relationship to the transientness of everyone in the world right now. I mean, there's so much going on. If it is affecting you, whatever that means, lean into more support. I'm going to talk about that more in a second, right? But change happens because we have a goal for where we want to get to, and we have the structure and support wrapped around us to allow us the combination of circumstances that will get us there. Something going wrong, like unfortunately has happened to Chandra, it is inevitable, right? Problems will surface, things will go wrong, we will be thrown off the track we thought we had. That is a guarantee. The question is how we're going to respond to it, right? And lean into support as opposed to letting it completely throw us off. So thank you. And I admire that with everything you're going through, you've chosen to keep figuring this stuff out. I mean, I think it's really courageous. So I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say that, not everybody, because I wasn't going to say anything and I wasn't even going to go to that meeting that I spoke up, but sometimes if you don't speak up, then things don't happen. So, and if you don't put yourself out there, and I'm not saying everybody has to tell all of their business, but if I hadn't gone to the meeting and if I hadn't spoken up, I think things would have been very different. So just, something to think about. So thank you.
I love that you said that too. I love it. This is part of that programming. What you just said is exactly why we often set bad goals, because we have been told that entrepreneurship, right, is about having it all figured out and being individual and being able to raise millions and sell for billions and to never fall apart. And right, there's this storyline about what the version of entrepreneurship looks like that we've all been largely sold. And that is primarily why most small business owners don't hit the goals, because we set them and they're unrealistic. And then when we struggle, which is inevitable, we don't get support because we think it's a sign of weakness or failure. It's not, it's just real life. So that programming around the idea, right, that we should have it all figured out, that we should just be more successful than we are, that is part of the programming that prevents us from succeeding, because we don't set the realistic goals and we don't get the support when things are hard. So I love that you said that. Thank you. All right, Katrina, you get the last word on this.
So I'm going to disrupt this just for a second. So I'm a mind coach and I teach, I haven't done it in a couple of years, but I do teach vision board classes as well. But I want to disrupt things just for a second because we tend to get caught up in December 25th, 26th, 27th. You got to do a New Year's resolution. We get caught up in the hype of things. So I challenge people to not get caught up in that hype, to digest and dissect from December 31st to January 1st, January 2nd, 3rd, or whatever. Just dissect yourself and your life and get connected and centered. Then go from there and start creating goals or tasks or achievements. Because people think they start advertising, my New Year's resolution is this, my New Year's, and we see this all across social media, on TV, every single thing on the radio. And so you kind of get like anxiety, like, I gotta have a goal, I gotta have a New Year's resolution. So you just throw stuff out there, and then you throw it out there, and then you don't have a way to accomplish it because you're just saying that this is something you must do. Everybody else is saying New Year's all the conversations about what's your New Year's resolution? What's your I haven't had New Year's resolutions in like 10 years. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I have goals. And since from 2020, the 2020 hit me hard. From 2020 forward, I take my time and digest my year from December 20th to the first or second week in January. And then I start strategically writing out goals. And then my goals are by quarters. I have, when you're saying what are our goals, you're having us right through, I have January to February, I have specific things. And I say from March to April, I have specific things. I have a big thing that I want to achieve for the year, yes, but I have strategic small chunks of things that I want to do. And that way I feel more successful. I'm less stressed, and I actually can see clear on how to accomplish those small chunks or quarterly chunks of things that I'm trying to accomplish. So that's my take on it.
Amen. Hallelujah. Yes. Agreed. Katrina, perfect. You basically just said what I was going to say. So I'm going to basically copy you and say it one more time because it's exactly correct. Here's the actions I want us to take. So these are the challenges I have for all of you. And I'm literally about to say everything Katrina just said. So we can pretend that I'm oh so smart, but actually Katrina is oh so smart and I'm copying her. Number one, forget resolutions. Just get rid of them. It's dumb. It's a flawed idea. It's marketing. It's hype. Forget it. It doesn't matter. Why are all of a sudden we thinking about what we want in life on January 1st? Why aren't we thinking about what we want in life every single day of every single year, right? Why is it that day? I just think it's the craziest thing of all time. Like, I think Small Business Saturday is the most annoying thing of all time. Why are we buying from small businesses one day a year? It should be every day if we want to change the economy, right? This is a lifestyle. I want you living a life where you set goals and you hit them. I do not want you setting resolutions. So I love the idea of forget the resolutions. Live a life. Live an intentional, authentic, aligned life. And in that, as Katrina's saying, there's this need to constantly metabolize new information. As Alex just said in chat, to think about seasons. Life changes. We change. The world changes, right? If we can't all look back over the last 4 years and recognize the world changes, we change, life changes, right? When we can't plan for some of this stuff. So we have to be flexible enough to release this idea that once a year, we're going to have it all figured out and live in constant realignment, constant regrounding back to what matters. So forget about New Year's resolutions. Why are we doing it on January 1st? I want you to live with that level of intentionality and alignment every single day. Okay. So challenge number one, forget your resolutions, get into alignment. If you're living a life of alignment, you don't need resolutions. They're unnecessary. But goals are necessary because none of us are naturally structured and none of us are naturally motivated enough. It is human nature. It is no one's fault. It is not even bad. It's just true. None of us are so perfectly structured that we will say we want something and it will magically happen and we will magically go get it. So the structure of a good goal allows for us to move towards something, I always think of it as like, okay, I'm going to put a stake in the sand over there and it will just help me move in the right direction so that when I am making decisions about how to spend my time and my energy and my money, I can make good decisions. I can move in the direction of where I say I want to go. I don't want you guys living a life that is aligned and beautiful but without the intention of goals, right? Goals crystallize intention. They put a stake in the ground that we can move towards and that we can measure our progress against. And I also don't want you guys to have a negative relationship to goals. I know so often we set goals that are unrealistic or unaligned, and then we really build resistance to them, right? They feel like they're pressure. They feel like they're hurting us. They feel like they're making us sad. I want you to love goals. You will love your goals if they are measurable, time-bound, realistic, and aligned, because they will actually be what you want in life, and you will feel the excitement of getting there. So challenge number 1, if you wrote resolutions down somewhere, if you're in this resolution mode, I would love for you to rip them up. So that's challenge number 1. I would ask you to actually consider releasing your resolutions. Challenge number 2, I want you to think about your current SLAP goal. Is the SLAP goal that you are currently working on in your SLAP, right? You're using your mindset calls and each other and meets and the software and campaigns, right? You're using all this infrastructure to help you hit that goal. Is it the right goal? Is your SLAP goal the right goal? Is it measurable, time-bound? Well, it's measurable and time-bound. We force that. Is it realistic? Do you have the time, the money, and the energy to accomplish it? And is it aligned? Do you want it? Do you want those revenue streams? Do you want that outcome? Is it going to give you what you want? If you are not sure, someone in chat just wrote this, and it's critical. If you notice, you guys all get unlimited calls with the SLAP experts. You can talk to them every hour if you really want to. I don't recommend that. You should go run your business. You should go get to action. Don't talk to them every hour. But you can talk to them an unlimited amount. They are trained specifically in helping you reevaluate your SLAP goal. If you're in this conversation and you cannot look me in the eye, hand on heart, and say, my SLAP goal is right, I can put everything I've got into it because I believe in it so much, that I want you to do a SLAP build call. And that is a one-on-one call. It's super safe. It's non-threatening, but a SLAP expert can help you go through your goal and just make sure it's realistic. The reason I really want to get your attention on this is we've got an unending amount of data that proves that if you set a goal that is not realistic and not aligned, your chance of hitting it is honestly less than 20%. So like, what a bummer that is, that you work so hard, you put all this energy in. Even if you're working hard, you are not going to hit the goal you set if it's not the right goal. Sometimes Slapsters set these, what they call stretch goals, big, ambitious goals, but there's no way you're going to accomplish it in the next 12 months. Now you're actually teaching your brain neural pathways that say, well, goals don't work, or worse, I don't work. I can't accomplish these goals. What's the point? Nothing will ever work. No, you set the wrong goal. You set yourself up to fail. So the risk of setting a goal that is not right, measurable, time-bound, realistic, and aligned is that you're not going to hit it, right? I can basically guarantee that if you don't have the right goal, you're not going to hit it. If you don't hit your goals, if you build a habit of setting goals that you don't hit, you're building neural pathways. And those neural pathways are teaching you that you can't succeed. That is dangerous. I love people that set realistic goals and then hit them and do it over and over and over again. I also want to offer all of you that I've got data coming out of my ears and my yin yang that over a long period of time, Slapsters who set realistic goal year after year after year after year, they grow more and they are more successful and more profitable and more sustainable and more aligned and have more time with their family and take more vacations and have all the more that all of us want than the people who have really ambitious, aggressive, and unrealistic goals in the short term and think they're just going to like magically grow really fast. Who are you competing with, right? Set a goal that you can arrive at and do that year over year over year, and you will get everything you want. That is a guarantee. So the second challenge I'm going to have for you, you can do it in DM if you don't want to say it out loud to Gabriel Colombo, Silver Lining, or you can just put it in chat. If you want to do a SLAP goal review, just put it in chat. Just tell us. You don't even have to send an email. Our team will follow up with you. We will book it with you because your goals got to be right. That is critical. I want you to set it, and then I want you to hit it, and I want you to build the neural pathways that tell yourself that you can, and I want you to do that year over year over year and have everything you want in life. That is my mission for you. The last piece of hitting goals is that success is science. Behavior change science literally says that we cannot accomplish goals on our own. We were not designed as humans to do it alone. You can't. Get over it. I am a very independent person and I find that to be very annoying. I would like to think I can do everything on my own and I'll figure it out. It doesn't work that way. We are designed for outside structure and support. We are designed and need to have external reinforcement. So in behavior change science, the scientific formula for setting and hitting goals is you gain commitment, right? I can't force you to hit your goal. I can support you in it. You've got to be committed to it. So number one, you've got to be committed to your outcome. Then you set a modest goal, all the things we're talking about today. Then you rigorously track your behavior, right? That's all the data we're showing you in your SLAP score and your campaigns, right? Rigorously track what's working, what's not. Track behavior in pursuit of outcome. Then you need outside support. You need outside accountability, right? That's why we do meets. That's why we have Connect. That's why you've got mindset calls, strategy calls, right? That's why we're wrapping ourselves around each other because we need outside support from peers and from accountability. All that we build self-efficacy. And then that science literally says, and then the success becomes a habit. The goal we set becomes a habit. Success becomes a habit. We've seen this. We have Slapsters that have been doing SLAP for 10, 12, 13, 14 years. SLAP is a habit to them. They literally just set a goal and hit it. Set a goal and hit it. I'm telling you, it is like a habit for them. They don't have to think about it anymore. They have trained their brain to set a good goal, align their actions against it, and hit the goal. And then the next year, do it again and again and again and again. It's a habit. Success is science. So if you think that whatever your goal is, you will accomplish by being oh so courageous and oh so independent and oh so alone, even if it's a great goal, it doesn't work that way. It won't come to life. So embrace structure and support. Do those mindset calls. Come to a couple meets a month. Figure out where you're struggling. Say it out loud, like was modeled for us today, and then ask for and get the support you need. The most successful people do not have it all figured out. The most successful people are clear and self-aware enough that they know what they don't have figured out so that they can ask for support around it. So my challenge to you guys is to stop wishing and hoping and dreaming and resolving and resoluting, and instead to set a good goal, align your behavior against it, and embrace, ask for, be proactive about getting the structure and support that you can wrap around yourself so that you succeed. Because success is science. It is inevitable if you've got the right goal and the right structure and support around you. That's the good news. It's inevitable. You just have to do two things. You got to be brave enough to set the right goal and brave enough to get the right support. But inside of this beautiful community, you have all of that. You can get all of the things you need thanks to how many amazing humans are in this room. So let's do it. We're at time. I see so many people asking for SLAP reviews, which are making me so happy. I love a SLAP review. It is so beautiful to clarify and crystallize the right goal. It is so relieving. It is so wonderful to be in alignment. So get that goal right. We will help you. Embrace support. All right, let's do a quick emoji close. Everyone, one emoji. How are we feeling as we forget our resolutions and we decide to set and hit our goals instead? I've got a celebration. I've got a thumbs up. One person's clapping. Everyone else is blank. Emoji less. All right. Forget the hype and get to work. That is the theme of all of this. Forget the hype and get to work. Set the goal, tell the truth, access support. Don't do it alone. We will do it together. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
You guys.
Bye,
Have a good day.
everybody.